Christmas time, arguing online. Which is better, whiskey or moonshine?
What are you doing?
Being annoying on the internet. What does it look like?
Well, it's time you stopped.
That's what everyone says. You know, you're just going with the crowd, dude. You've got to branch out and form your own opinions.
What? No, stop trying to change the subject.
What subject? I don't even know why you're here. What are you on about?
I've come to give you your new game to review this week. Here.
The Bible game? I know literally nothing about this. Is it any good?
That's what you're about to find out. Now get to it.
The Bible game is a party game with a bit of a Christian tint, let's put it that way. It's one of those games that is in the style of Buzz, and if you had a PlayStation 2 hooked up to your TV in the late 2000s, you probably have heard of Buzz. It's one of those games that just seemed to be everywhere for a long time. You played it with the clickers. You don't have to do that with the Bible game, you play it with a controller. It's by Crave Entertainment. Bit of a shock, that one, isn't it? The guys who imported Tokyo Extreme Racer, that entire series, also made this religious game. So, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, but it's a religious game, it can't be any good, can it? Well, that's where you'd be wrong. Because actually, it turns out this is a lot of fun.
Are you ready to do unto others?
The game is themed as if it's a Christian game show on TV, and it sticks with that throughout. As you'd expect, the show opens with the clean-cut presenter guy coming in and introducing the contestants. Then the fun begins. A player is picked at random to start the game, and they control the game board. They choose one of the numbered boxes on the screen, which are highlighted in a random order, and will either get a trivia question, which everyone gets to try to answer, a challenge, which everyone gets to play, a single-player challenge, which only they get to play, or one of several bonus options. There's also one option that players really won't want to see turn up. The Wrath of God option takes all the points that you've earned in this round, and then the round just ends immediately. This can make or break your chances to win the game, so you best hope that this one doesn't come up on your turn. If you thought calling a point-losing event the Wrath of God was verging a little bit on the blasphemous side, well, it's because that does seem a bit that way, doesn't it? Everything in this game is Bible-themed, and some of it, yeah, it gets a little close to landing in the zone where you can't really tell if it's just uninformed or if they're really trying to push things too far. It's a bit weird. So the quiz questions range from the basic stuff, such as where did Adam and Eve live? Hint, it's not the Garden of Brussels sprouts, and yes, that is the level of the humour in this game, because that is a possible answer, to the kind of questions that you're only going to know if you know the Bible pretty well. As someone who only barely remembers what they were taught in the religious education lessons at school, I was surprised that I got a few of these right. Mind you, there are only 4 possible answers to each question, so even if you have to guess, you have a 25% chance of getting it right. And those are good odds. But it's not the trivia where this game excels, it's the challenges. If you remember the weird game shows that used to be on Saturday morning kids TV, the kind of game show that I always wanted to go on but never seemed to be able to, well, you're going to be right at home if you like those, because that's the style of these mini-games. A party game like this lives and dies based on the quality of its mini-games, and I'm happy to say the ones in the Bible game are actually surprisingly good fun. They're all themed around events from the Bible, but they veer so close to an in-name-only adaptation that even people who aren't Christian will enjoy these games. There's one based on the Fall of the Walls of Jericho, which is basically just a racing game. You'll have to ride your horse as fast as you can, dodging obstacles on the ground and avoiding the other players. The more obstacles you avoid, and the longer you stay in front of the other players, the more points you gain. Then there's the Tower of Babel game, which is basically just the arcade game Kicks, only with 4 simultaneous players. Now, Kicks is a lot of fun in and of itself, but with the short time limit that comes in here, it becomes an intense experience, and is probably my favourite of all the mini-games on show. But a close contender to the Tower of Babel game for my favourite is Destroy False Idols. This is where you compete with the other players to kick as many statues of Egyptian deities into a fiery pit as possible within the time limit. When I said this game comes close to going too far with its themes, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. The minigames are all time limited with a short time limit, and that means they don't outstay their welcome, which is good. There's also enough of them that you won't keep having to play the same thing over and over again, but not so many that when you find one that you really like, you won't have to wait too long for it to come up again in the mix. So it's a nice, fun balance. At the end of each minigame, you're awarded some points. These don't add to your total until the end of the round, which adds that nice little bit of extra tension, because you could gain more points at any time, or you could lose some of them, or you could lose all of them before the round ends. Once it does though, any points you have left are added to your bank. When they're in the bank, those points are safe. Playing all the rounds will take you about half an hour, so it's the length of an average TV show. It really doesn't outstay its welcome in terms of games, which is good. Every round follows the same format. A player selects a box on the screen, a quiz, challenge or bonus happens, then the player gets to either select another box or pass the control to another player. Knowing when to risk another turn or pass the game on to the next player is where some tactics come in. If the number of boxes on the board is low, you know the chances of getting the Wrath of God option when you select a box is increasing. If you have a lot of points, it's worth passing control off to the next player, because if you get Wrath of God, you will lose all of those points, and that's not good. But if your points for this round are low, maybe it's worth taking the chance and risking them all, because that's got to be worth a shot to get back into the lead, surely. The final round is the only one where things change up. In this round, there is only one minigame and no trivia. You have to find fruits on the tree of knowledge. The more fruit you find, the higher your end score will be. This is where a player who's in last place can make up some points, or where someone who's in close second could skip forward a bit and take the lead. Each player takes their turn, and the board resets for every player, so whoever goes first doesn't reduce the chances for those who come after them. There are 8 positions on the tree, but only 6 fruit to find. The other 2 positions contain a snake, and if you select the snake, your turn ends. When this round ends, the points are tallied up, and the person with the most points wins. Very simple. So what do they win? Nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. It's just, you're playing for the fun of playing. It's weird. It's not even a case of, oh, those points, they turned out to be a monetary value and the winning character gets that money. There's not even something that you can unlock. It's just points. The points mean nothing. Just one of those things. You're playing to play. It's a bit of an oddity, but it kind of works and it kind of sticks with the theme. You're not here to, in terms of the game anyway, you're not here to win cash, you're not here to win prizes. You're here to play a game. So you play. Hope you enjoyed it. But funnily enough, you will enjoy it because it's weird. It's one of those strange situations. I am not Christian. Most of you probably aren't all that religious either. But you will find something fun in this game because it's an enjoyable experience. And that's what it all comes down to. Now, you might remember a couple of years ago, wow, time's passed, hasn't it? A couple of years ago, I played a game called Veggie Tales, Larryboy and the Bad Apple. Well, guess who made that game? Yep, it's Crave again. So they've now made 2 religious games for the PS2, and both have turned out to be really good fun. They aren't preachy, they're basically gameplay first and the Christian message second, which is the way that really you should be, because if you've ever seen some of the religious games that were out on the NES, for example, oh, you don't want that. You want gameplay first, and that's what this gives you. So it turns out the religious games on the PlayStation 2 are actually really good. Well worth tracking down, good thing to have in. They're good for kids, they're good for adults who just want a simple game to play. Really good fun. Anyway, that's all we've got time for today, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this, and if you have, remember to click that like button, share the video so that other people know a good game when they see it, and of course, until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching GameHammer, have a very Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. If you like the show, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really does help create future videos. That's patreon.com/Zoe kirk-robinson. And I've got an extra special thanks going out to Chief89, Sam Yates, Retro Mickey82, Mo Henry, and George Botterini. Thank you so much, guys.